The legends are true. The stories you've heard whispered in the dark. The ones that make the hair on your arms stand up. They all lead back to this place. Pennhurst. It wasn't just a school. It was a cache. A place where society locked away its unwanted, its forgotten children, and left them to the mercy of shadows. They say the buildings are empty now, just decaying monuments to a brutal past. But they're wrong. I know because I went there. I walked through those gates, driven by a need to understand what really happened behind these walls. The air itself feels heavy, thick with sorrow. The moment I stepped onto the grounds, I felt it, a coldness that had nothing to do with the night air. It was the coldness of memory, of pain etched into the very stones. This place, it breathes, even from a distance. Shrouded in mist, Pennhurst has a presence. It's like a slumbering giant, its dark windows watching you, daring you to come closer. The paint peels like sunburnt skin. The grounds are choked with weeds that have been reclaiming the land for decades. But the building itself, it refuses to fall. It stands as a testament, a stubborn reminder of the lives lived and lost within. People call it an asylum, a school, a hospital. But for the thousands of children who were sent here, it was a prison. They say you can still hear them if you listen closely enough. The wind whistling through the broken panes of glass sounds like a mournful song, a lament for lost innocence. I had to see it for myself. I had to know if the ghosts of Pennhurst were just stories or if something truly remained behind. My flashlight cut a nervous beam through the oppressive darkness, painting a fleeting circle of light on the cracked and grimy walls. Every step I took echoed in the vast, empty halls, a lonely drumbeat in the heart of a dead place. Or so I thought. The silence in here isn't empty. It's watchful. It's the kind of quiet that feels like a held breath, waiting for you to make a wrong move. Dust motes danced in the flashlight beam like tiny, spectral insects, disturbed for the first time in years. The air was stale, thick with the smell of decay, damp, and something else. Something faintly medicinal, like a phantom scent from a long-gone infirmary. I came here looking for answers, for a piece of a history that's been deliberately buried. I thought I was just exploring an abandoned building. I couldn't have been more wrong. The building wasn't empty. It was waiting. And as my light swept across a message scrawled on the wall, a faint whisper seemed to brush past my ear, a cold breath in the stagnant air. The hallways are a museum of misery. Each corridor tells a story. Rusted wheelchairs sit abandoned in the middle of the floor, as if their occupants simply vanished into thin air. Rosa blockers are dented and broken, some hanging open to reveal nothing but darkness within. Decades-old papers and patient files are scattered across the floor, their ink faded into brown smudges, their secrets turning to dust. It felt like walking through a shipwreck at the bottom of the sea, a place where time had stopped abruptly. The lights in some sections would flicker erratically, casting long, distorted shadows that seemed to dance and writhe at the edge of my vision. I kept moving forward, drawn deeper into the asylum's gut. The doors to the old rooms were terrifying. Some were heavy steel with small, barred windows. Others were splintered wood, clawed at from the inside. I shone my light on old photographs I found, faces of children staring back at me with hollow eyes. The halls felt alive, and I had the distinct, chilling sensation that I wasn't just being watched. I was being judged. That's when it started. It wasn't just a feeling anymore. Out of the corner of my eye, I'd see them. Ghostly figures, transparent and fleeting, would appear for a split second before vanishing. A nurse, in an old-fashioned uniform, walking silently down the hall. A group of children huddled in a corner, their forms glitching in and out of existence like a bad television signal. The building was showing me its memories. The echoes of the past were breaking through into the present. I found a classroom, the small desks, still arranged in neat rows, covered in a thick blanket of dust. On the floor, a single worn teddy bear lay next to a child's notebook, its pages filled with frantic, unintelligible scribbles. The faint, distant sound of children's laughter would echo from empty rooms, followed by a sudden, heartbreaking sob. Whispers swirled around me, indistinct words that I couldn't understand but whose meaning I felt deep in my bones. Fear, loneliness, pain. This place didn't just hold memories, it held the souls of those who never left. They were trapped here, replaying their final moments for an audience of one. I was in what looked like an old day room, a large, cavernous space that was almost completely dark. A single light bulb hung from the ceiling, flickering on and off, creating a dizzying, strobe-like effect. The air grew intensely cold, and the feeling of being watched intensified until it was a physical pressure against my skin. I stood frozen in the middle of the room, my own heartbeat thundering in my ears like a war drum. That's when I saw it in the brief flashes of light. A shadow, darker than the surrounding darkness, detaching itself from the wall behind me. It wasn't my shadow. It was tall, unnaturally so, and it was moving. I didn't dare to turn around. My blood ran cold, and I could feel a scream building in my throat, but no sound would come out. A sudden, violent shake rattled the entire room, and dust rained down from the ceiling. Then, I felt it. A hot, foul breath on the back of my neck, followed by a whisper so close it felt like it was inside my own head. It spoke a single word, a name I had been searching for. My name. I didn't think, I just ran. Pure, animal terror took over. I sprinted back through the labyrinthine corridors, the sound of my own frantic footsteps mingling with a cacophony of new sounds. Doors slammed shut behind me with explosive force, one after another, as if the building itself was trying to trap me inside. The whispers were no longer faint. They were a roaring chorus of anguish and rage, screaming from all directions. I didn't look back. I couldn't. I just focused on the faint glimmer of gray light I could see at the end of a long hall of the dawn. I burst through the main doors and didn't stop running until my lungs were on fire and the asylum was a silhouette against the rising sun. As I collapsed, gasping for air, I turned to look back one last time. The morning fog was rolling in, thick and white, slowly swallowing Pennhurst, erasing it from view. I escaped, but a part of me knows the truth. I may have left the grounds, but Pennhurst is still there, waiting in the mist. It's not dead. It's just sleeping, and it remembers me. Thanks for watching. If you want to see more explorations into the unknown, make sure to subscribe.